are moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Monday, the 7th day of April 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi, and this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinlabi Kola. It is the start of a new work week, and we're ready to go. Enter, Dana?
We are ready to go, but it's wet outside, so we must tell our viewers to ensure you walk with your umbrellas, your raincoats, whatever it is you need this morning to ensure that you stay safe and dry as you go out this morning. I mean, we're still in the dry season,
Yes.
But we're getting some rains because I feel it.
Showers.
Yeah, the April showers, and on top of that, the dry season was real dry.
Yes.
It really was a dry season, so we welcome those April showers this month. I mean, we had steady rainfall yesterday, and we start off clouds very white this morning. I think if you all saw the shot there coming in, you'd see how cloudy it is on the outside. So the weekend had activities.
Yeah, some excitement,
over the weekend. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show. But before we get into all of those conversations, ladies and gentlemen, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Adana, here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, April 7th, 2025. Ahead of a meeting with Sandals Resort owner Adam Stewart, THA Chief Secretary Fali Augustine insisted and renewed investment in Tobago must be funded by Sandals and not taxpayers. Augustine emphasized that development must benefit Tobagonians, respect their input, and follow legal protocols with the THA leading negotiations. He criticized the central government for neglecting tourism and highlighted the failure of the original 2017 Sandals proposal due to lack of consultation and reliance on public funds. Talks will resume after former Prime Minister Keith Rowley said he convinced Sandals to reconsider the project. Up next, TPP political leader Fali Augustine has rejected claims of ties between his party and the UNC, dismissing a viral voice note as political mischief and recycled smear tactics. Speaking in Crown Point, he said detractors were distracting voters due to their failure in leadership. UNC political leader Kamala Prasad Bissessa also denied any alliance. PNM's Ansel Dennis warns Tobagonians not to dismiss the audio as AI-generated, referencing a past controversy involving Augustine. PDP leader Watson Duke distanced himself from the scandal, mocking Augustine and questioning the integrity of the alleged exchange. And finally, speaking at a political meeting in Signal Hill last night, Prime Minister Stuart Young praised the commitment of Tobago's MPs Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis and Ayanna Webster Roy, while cautioning against the UNC and coalition governments, citing their history of disrespect towards Tobago. Prime Minister Stuart Young reaffirmed his dedication to the island, highlighting his efforts in securing ferries, managing the recent oil spill, and securing international funding. He outlined plans for continued development on the island, including Sandals and Marriott, a marina, Tobago Milat, additional safe houses, collaboration with private sector to create jobs, and expansion of the electricity capacity with wind turbines, new buses for Tobago terrain, a cruise ship port expansion, and 12 new high-tech interceptors to assigned to Tobago. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Bianna, for our news there in 90 seconds. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been viewing Tobago Updates Television, if you reside in Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago, in the diaspora, if you have any concerns about Trinidad and Tobago, you would be aware that we are in election season. Election day is April 28th. And so most of what you will be hearing on the airwaves and social media conversations with your friends would be about elections. The campaigning has begun. And so we're going to be talking about all things election right on our station here this morning. And throughout we were going to take you on the entire journey. In fact, on election day, we'll also be bringing you coverage. And so, on the weekend, we saw two platforms. We saw TPP and we also saw the PNM as well, trying to convince their followers and to convince the population to cast their votes for them. I was, able to hear parts of both of them. And, what is the feeling like where you guys are concerned? In terms of the delivery of, for me, the thing is, let's talk about your track record. One, if you have one, and I know the TPP is new in the general elections, what are you bringing to the table? I mean, realistically, because sometimes, you hear the pie in the sky type of promises. What are you bringing realistically to the table? So in terms of what you've been hearing, how are you feeling in terms of them delivering their words to convince people like, I could really get this done?
Well, as the Prime Minister was speaking last night in Signal Hill, some of the projects that they put forward are good ones, especially the buses for the Tobago terrain. That's a good, proposal. I hope that they stick to bringing forward that in the future.
Yes, for me, what the Prime Minister said, it sounds very good on paper, but we've heard in the past a lot of good ideas, like you said, Adana, and they don't really come to fruition. But some of these, I wouldn't lie, some of these promises that the Prime Minister would have stated on the platform, it's sort of exciting. I haven't had the chance to really hear what the TPP have said on the platform thus far, but I know from our interviews with them in studio, they are more leaning towards getting that constitutional reform and bringing that legislative change to empower the THA to really be able to make laws and move the island forward in a very meaningful way. So the two parties, they have different focuses, but they're all beneficial to Tobago, and I guess it's up to the public to really analyze and see which one of the parties is really coming to us with a more realistic plan for the next 5 years.
And that's it, Akinlabi. It really is up to the public to kind of make that differentiation, and you really have to stick to what sounds realistic and reasonable, especially within the time frame that they are given, the 4 or 5 years, depending on how it goes.
Yes.
So to be able to deliver those things, where's the funding coming from? How are we going to attract foreign investment and stuff like that? How are the plans that they have lining up with what is achievable and attainable within the 5-year period? So we as the population, it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to, we have made a lot of noise in public spaces. We're tired of this, we're fed up of this, we want change. We have had change, and are we holding the policymakers accountable to the things that they promise on the platform? And that is where we come in as the population. How do we hold them accountable, and how do we ensure that they deliver on the promises? And how do we use our power, the power of our vote, the power of our voice, to ensure that we get the representation that we really want and need here in Trinidad and Tobago? So let's see how it's going to go, and I do hope that at the end of it all of us benefit, because they say when the elephants fight is the grass that get trampled on, and we don't want to get trampled on at all. All right, Bianna, it's a wet Monday morning, so I do hope that whatever you do today, that you have your umbrella, your raincoat, or even your rain boots, that you're covered from head to toe, and that you stay safe, and you do have a wonderful day.
You too as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And of course, Tobago Updates Television takes pleasure and pride in celebrating with anybody who is celebrating. And so we want to say a very, very happy birthday this morning to Miss Roxanne Herbert. Roxanne Herbert is celebrating a birthday today. And we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope that this new chapter is beautifully written.
Happy birthday shout-outs go to Miss Tonya Williams. Happy birthday, Miss Williams. We hope that you have an amazing day. We know it's a bit wet, so maybe you're inside, cuddled up with a nice hot cup of coffee and you have some brunch plans and some dinner plans for later today. And we wish you God's richest blessings on your special day and all the best for the new year, for the rest of the year, sorry.
Renicia Williams also celebrated a birthday. So this is a belated birthday to Renicia Williams. We say happy belated birthday, happy birthday season, happy birthday period. And we do hope that as you enter into this new chapter of your life, that you get to enjoy the blessings and all the celebration that comes with a birthday. So happy belated birthday to you.
Another belated birthday. Happy belated birthday to Mr. Travis Allen. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Allen, the big man in the suit, in the track suit. We wish you God's richest blessings and that you were surrounded by friends and family as you celebrated your special day.
Miss Lorraine Paul Perry, my classmate, happy birthday to you. Lorraine is celebrating a birthday today. And Lorraine, we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Lorraine, is a very, very quiet but well-calculated person. And I really want to say happy birthday to you, Lorraine. And I do hope that you enjoy the blessings of God that makes rich and adds no sorrow to it. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Greetings go out to Miss Abigail Taylor. Happy birthday, Miss Abigail Taylor. We wish you God's richest blessings on your special day. We hope that you have some great plans in store for the day and you celebrate it and you have fun. You stay safe in this weather and you spend it with family and friends, and we wish you God's richest blessings on your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you do have a birthday, an anniversary, you just got married, you had a baby, a promotion, you're migrating, you won the lottery, whatever it is, we join in that celebration with you this morning. And of course, we remind you to put God first because He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. All right, so it's Monday morning, so you might be wondering what's in my cup. What's in my cup is sponsored by LCJ Delights. And this morning I am drinking cocoa shell and bay leaf tea. I think it's the best thing you could drink on this wet, cold Monday morning. Of course, sponsored by LCJ Delights. They are located at the Signal Hill Micro Enterprise Complex, so you can check them out for your teas, the flour to make your porridge, your waffle, your porridge, your waffles, your pancakes, all your breakfast menu. You can find it there, as well as they do a premium blend of mixed nuts, so you can contact them to get your hands on that. Akilabi, who are we speaking with this Monday morning?
All right, so this Monday morning we have one PC Goddard and PC Kwame, and they will be coming to talk to us about the TTPS updates as well as police on e-bikes. And then we have Miss Neha Karina, fashion designer, and she'll be part of the Tobago Fashion Coda 7, coming to talk about her participation in the Tobago Fashion Coda. And finally, we're going to have Mr. Martin George, the Tobago business chairman, and he's going to be talking about the effects of the US tariffs on the economy. So we have a nice mix of discussions happening today.
That's right. And before we have those conversations this morning, I just want to say a shout out to you, our loyal viewers who are on our Facebook live stream, always sending good morning to us and always sending beautiful greetings. Good morning to Miss Pearl Murray Beard, never missing a beat. Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Good morning to you, Zane Briggs. Good morning to Myrtle Charles is asking, what is the weather like here? It is very rainy this morning. It's a wet morning, but we got to do what we got to do. Good morning to Joyce Moore Boris. Good morning to all of you who are on our Facebook live stream, on our YouTube channel, and even those of you who are viewing on AMPLIA 102 or on floor 121 or 130. We say thank you so much for choosing us, whether you're viewing right here in Tobago, in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, England, all of Asia, Africa, Australia, wherever you are on the planet. Thank you for choosing us and making us number one in morning show here on the island of Tobago. Before we get into all of our conversations this morning, we have to go for a short break. And when we go for a break, what do? Share the live. We'll be right back.
You've heard a voice on the radio, seen her in your worship, and have sung her songs during your time of praise. Sinesh.
Everybody now, let's go.
Sinesh comes to Tobago for Melodies from Heaven on April 17th. The Shore Park Complex alights with praise and worship from 6 p.m. for Melodies from Heaven featuring Sinesh. I shall not want. Samuel Maydess.
anxiety to call your name.
Positive.
Me never could have changed my mind.
Blessed Messenger.
Give blood of Jesus over your family.
Renee Fortune and many more.
From my head to my feet.
Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. April 17th at Show Park Complex. Melodies from Heaven. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to our viewers to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have in studio with us PC Goddard, and he's here to talk to us about something you may have seen around the streets of Tobago, particularly maybe in Scarborough. You have seen police officers on these types of bikes. He's here to talk to us about the e-bikes that have now been furnished to the Tobago region of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Good morning, PC Goddard. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Good morning, Tobago. How is everyone doing?
So, PC Goddard, tell us about these e-bikes. What is the program? What is the initiative really about with these e-bikes?
Well, first of all, e-bikes were brought in to help us in the tourism sector. Well, I belong to the TOPS unit. It's the tourism-oriented policing section, and it helped us to get around a little easier in that they are electric bikes. So you get around easier, you just have to pedal a little bit and it flows because it's a bike that is charged with a small motor and so on. So it helps with the patrol, and it helps us to get it. The bikes also help us to get into areas where cars wouldn't really get into, you know.
Okay, and So was there a need for these bikes before these bikes came on board? Did the TTPS have some sort of problem with patrolling these tourist areas?
Well, actually, I wouldn't say that they had a problem, but the brainchild of Sergeant Kwamena was to bring a bicycle patrol, and he did that in about, I think it was 2003. And, you know, the unit evolved and became the tourism-oriented section where, you know, it focused more on tourism, but we had a beach patrol where we used the bikes before, but manual bikes.
So tell us, what is the difference between these manual bikes and these e-bikes? Did the officers need any sort of specialized training to operate these e-bikes?
Well, in both circumstances, they do, both the normal bike and both the e-bikes, because police on bike is totally different to when you're just riding a bike down the road. Because you still have to observe your surroundings, you still have to know how to defend yourself while on the bike, you have to know how to dismount that bike, and if you're chasing somebody, you have to know how to go up and down stairs.
Okay, and how many officers did you all train to operate these e-bikes?
Well, we recently would have trained about 26 officers in total. They probably won't be transferred directly to this section, but at least we'll have bikes in all of the stations, so that when they are working, they can use these bikes to go on patrol.
And in the first instance, how many bikes did the Tobago region of the Tobago Police Service receive?
Well, we received about a dozen bikes, which is 12 bikes. We're hoping to receive 14 more, because as I said, we have 28 people trained. So we hope that a bike could be assigned to each individual.
Okay, and were these bikes purchased by the Tobago Police Service, or was it some sort of partnership?
It was a partnership with the American Embassy.
It was a partnership with the American Embassy.
Yes.
And what has been the feedback like from the officers that are utilizing the bikes, as well as members of the public? Have they given you all any feedback in terms of what they think about the initiative?
Well, most of the public, they love to see us on the bikes, and they love to interact with us, because there people can share information. We can also share information. You're not in a car, so most of the times you're right with people, and you cover more grounds than if you're on a foot patrol.
Right.
So people love it, and we love it too, because I mean, it's a form of exercise, and also it's also a form of patrol that you actually interact with the public.
Okay, so there's more interaction with the public, and has that reflected in terms of the public or the residents in the areas you all patrol having a more positive perception and positive relationship?
Runway meets rhythm. Come see the icons of Caribbean couture, showcasing the trailblazing fashions of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago Fashion Coda 7 promises an unforgettable experience on the 18th of April 2025 at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, a premium all-inclusive fashion soiree where runway meets rhythm.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight,
that we should be together.
Bonnet Bigford,
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Tasia,
Without you, my God.
and the best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Welcome back, viewers, and we apologize for those technical difficulties that we're experiencing, but we continue the conversation with PC Goddard, and we were talking, PC Goddard, about the e-bikes, and I just wanted to know, where do the e-bikes operate at this current period, this current time?
We operate mostly in the Crown Point, Shirvan district. We go as far as Lescato, and we also go into Crown Point, all the beaches, Scarborough. We also at Roxborough, so we do places like the Waterfall, the Rainforest, the Cook West State, and in the village.
Mm-hmm. So we have to, you want to get some more bikes so that the full complement of officers that were trained could have a bike for themselves and fully utilize this service, fully utilize the skill of the e-bikes. Yeah. How expansive does the TTPS want this program to be? Do they want it to be an island-wide thing that we're patrolling in all the villages on the island? Tell us how expansive they.
Well, we want to do that in the sense of the whole island, and also to introduce it in some parts of Trinidad, because there are officers in Trinidad that are asking about it. But sometimes some of these things are out of our hands.
Yes. Okay, so I want to switch modes right now and get into the ROCC initiative that the TTPS will have going on. I know you were on some weeks ago speaking about it. Just give us an update about how the program is going so far.
Well, we've just finished Moriah, and also a game yesterday with the Air Guides. So it's going pretty good in that we're getting large turnout in the communities. Moriah wasn't so large, but yet we still had a good program. And the games after are well attended, in that the players from the different villages, they come out to play, and also we have some supporters. One of the things that we have to still work on is getting the parents out, because the children are dropped there, but
they're not staying.
The parents are not staying. And this initiative, yes, while it's for helping the children, we still want the parents, because without the parents, you could try to culture the children, but they go right back home into that culture that you really don't want them to be in. So we need to sensitize parents as to how to keep their children, especially from gangs and drugs and violence and different aspects of life, that social ills that they shouldn't be involved in.
Okay, and I was now about to ask you, what is the impact like on the parents, but we just spoke about the parents, but also the children that attend these training sessions. What has the impact been like since the program has begun?
Well, the children love it. A lot of them are asking, well, when are you coming back to my community? When are you coming back to my community? But as I said, there's a lot of communities in Tobago, and we are trying to reach as much as we can. We also have something coming up with boy children in May. I'll get the dates to you guys sometime, and I think Mrs. Grooms Matthew will be on sometime to speak about that also. But beside that, it's been hard work, but it's successful as far as I'm concerned in most aspects.
All right, thank you very much, PC Goddard. Thank you for coming on this morning to talk to us about the e-bikes as well as the ROCC initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from PC Goddard speaking about the e-bikes and the ROCC initiative around the island, Rock the Island. We have to take a short break, but when we come back, we will be speaking with Neha Karina, fashion designer from the Tobago Fashion Coda 7. Do as we ask all the time before we go. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight,
It's undeniable that we should be together.
Bonnet Bigford,
When the lightning crack of the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Teja,
Where else I go, without you, my darling.
and the best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Welcome to the launch of Tobago Fashion Coda 7. We are so happy to be here.
when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. And thank you so much for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning, but we shift gears a bit this morning. We head on over to Miss Neha Karina, fashion designer of the Tobago Fashion Coda 7. As you know, that event is upcoming. And so we're going to be talking all things Fashion Coda this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Of course, a pleasure having you on our program this morning. And we do know that the event is upcoming, Fashion Coda 7, and we're talking about all things fashion. We're talking about designing, the preparation that goes into designing, coming up with the concept, the ideas, and of course, your involvement in the event. And so we are here now this morning, and we'd like to know, initially, before we get into your design ideas and, you know, how you fit into the whole scape of things, how did you get into the fashion and design industry? What was the thing that piqued your interest in this industry?
Okay, I have 12 years of experience. My boutique is located at the Hilton Hotel. Me getting into the fashions and the arts is that I have an Indo-Western flair to my designs. I'm an Indian classical designer, Indian classical dancer, and designing my own costumes, I realized I had a limitation to designing costumes and production for Indian garment designing in Trinidad and Tobago. So that is where I found my niche. So that's where I started my journey. So of course I did my degree in fashion design, and then I went on to many short courses in India and Dubai and so forth.
Right, and now you're preparing for Fashion Coda 7. I want to talk a little bit about your in terms of coming up with your concept. A lot of designers, especially artists, you know, they have a story to tell, and that's something that kind of gives them the inspiration in terms of how do I determine where my fashion is going to go? What is the story? What is the thing that you hold on to? And how do you depict it in your design? So what is that thing that led you to coming up with the idea for your collection for the events?
The fashion coda. Okay, so my inspiration actually, when I spoke to Don told me, you know, we have to bring it. We all about the red carpet. He's bringing 100 feet red carpet, which is immaculate. I mean, we don't really get that at all in Trinidad. We have not seen that. So when he's told me that, I said, okay, that's what I have to bring. Something that is very high fashion and relatable to Trinidad and Tobago. So I took my inspiration from that aspect to come up with my collection, which will be revealed on the night of the show, of course.
Of course, I know it will be revealed, but can you give us an insight in terms of the name of the collection? Do you have a name for it, a theme of the collection?
I will tell you that I do not have a name right now. When it's completed, I will have a name. But I know that's quite off the bat. But as a theme of collection, it is very avant-garde friendly. But it's like an Indo-Western meets avant-garde.
Okay, Miss Karina, so we know that you're going to be in Tobago Fashion Coda 7, but just tell us about who Miss Karina is and how you got into fashion. Give us a bit of your history and your accolades so that persons can know who Miss Neha Karina is coming into Tobago Fashion Coda 7.
Okay, a bit about myself. As I mentioned before, I am an Indian classical performer of art, so I would have done my Indian classical training in India. I also was a TV presenter and host. I have of 12 years experience in the fashion industry. I'm also the national director for the Miss India Worldwide pageant and the Miss Global International pageant. Just to be very short and sweet about myself.
Right. And so, of course, with all those years of experience, of course, I know this is not your first run of the mill. So in terms of preparing your pieces for the event, I know we spoke with one of the other designers last week, I think. And, you know, in terms of getting the material, putting them together, turning night into day, what is that process like for you in terms of getting ready for the show?
Oh, so yes. when it comes to fabrications and materials and the process for me for designing is the first you have to find your inspiration. What is your target market? Who you want to sell to? What you want to capture? Do you want to make a change? Do you want to show who Neha Karina is? Just like what the question you asked me just now. What Neha Karina can now offer you? So taking that inspiration, drawing it from different silhouettes, then you sit down and sketch. Then you have to really find your collection. So you always have five colors that you work with a spectrum for collection. Your probably like three primary colors, a pop and an accent color. So let's say we use our primary color to be blue, then we'll have our accent color, which might be gold, and our pop color might be magenta. So that is where you get your color palette from. Then from there now you search for similar fabrics, and if you want to go with embroidery fabric, glitter, sequins, whatever you want to go with, and then you come up with your collection. It's a DNI process, as the previous designer would have mentioned, because you go sleepless nights, and trust me, when I did, even in the sketching process, it probably took me 3 weeks, because every day you come up with something new, and then you have to do your editing of your collection. Sometimes you make something and you be like, nope, that's not going in that collection.
And I could see, I know Akin Labi wants to come in here, and I could see sometimes that process itself can be frustrating. But you just taught me something here in terms of your primary color, your pop color, and your accent color. And I'm going to remember that for a very, very long time, especially when I'm choosing my outfits, when I'm getting dressed.
Yes, it dress definitely works when you do that, because I mean, when I dress, that's what I think about. So just like how you're wearing that lovely black blazer, your pop is that white dots.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Okay, so Miss Karina, I don't know if this would be your first fashion event in Tobago, but just tell us, what does it mean for you to participate in Tobago Fashion Coda and also bring your creative genius to the shores of Tobago?
So I have always had a love for Tobago. Tobago is beautiful, and this is the first time I will be showcasing my collection in Tobago. It's the first time I'm with Fashion Coda, and I would say it's like a family. There are 7 brilliant designers within our shows that will be presenting at the Tobago Fashion Week, which is a beautiful aspect for me. I am very much about tourism, arts, and culture. And I think Fashion Coda brings that, because they have a expedition on the 10th of April, showcasing a art expedition, as well as they're giving back with a free makeup class at the Mandalina on the 14th of April with Kurt Cambridge. And these sort of things that is offered by Fashion Coda is something that it's all about togetherness and being one unit. Now it targets so much tourism for Tobago, because it's Easter weekend. You bring in fashion, and you're bringing your culinary experiences. You're bringing a after party. So it's fashion, arts, music, tourism, and I really hope we can get tickets to Tobago.
Before you got into all of that, my next question to you was going to be, how do you see this event and your participation benefiting the participants, people who are going to come out to the event? But then you listed out some of the other things, the experience that people can have when they come out there. In terms of the industry, I know sometimes the fashion industry is a difficult industry to break into and to make any measure of impact. What has your experience been like over the 12 years that you have been in and around the industry and been able to deliver your pieces on our markets?
So, I would say that being in the fashion industry, yes, as you mentioned, that it is very tough to do in Trinidad and Tobago. I think that our country is full of beautiful talent, and Trinidad itself and Tobago has a big Trinidad and Tobago has a big melting pot of designers and creativities, that we are our own fashion hubs. Right now, I am seeing a trend where our local people are more going towards local fashion than supporting imports to our country. So that's a big turning point, and that's a support, because right now, I think we have that way of actually repeating our outfits to actually wearing it once, and that's it. I mean, there are so many events and so forth, and everybody want to look the part. Everything is about a statement. Even for a birthday party, would you believe, people will get a new outfit. They treat birthday parties as weddings now. So to say that Trinidad and Tobago is a huge market right now, with with just our local people alone supporting, and I really want to see, and I think also this platform will help with the tourism aspect of things to really get our local designers out there and be targeting the international market. I think that's what's next for most designers, because it's all about putting Trinidad and Tobago on the map. It's not only about selling our clothes, but actually saying yes, we have. You know how we have products that goes to and in export and marketing, export and trading. Our fashion industry needs to do that as well.
And in closing, right, I just wanted to find out from you, what are the things that you are looking forward to the most participating in this event? And also, how would you encourage an aspiring fashion designer who is now coming up or even considering, should I enter that industry? So what are your thoughts there?
Okay, so the first question I will acknowledge first in terms of what I expect and whatnot to Fashion Coda. I think that, being among all the 7 designers plus, being able to be around the creative Richard Young, giving opportunities to over 30 plus models, being in that space, Don Grant has created for us for Fashion Coda, being at the Mandalena, being able to go to Tobago, being able to experience what Tobago has to offer, showcasing out of Trinidad in Tobago, and bringing that art, tourism, and culture to Tobago through fashion, which Don has presented for this will be his 7th edition. I think that is a very exciting experience. As for your second question, your second question in terms of inspiring fashion designers, go for it. As I said, our industry is booming and everyone has a creative style and a creative aspect of it, and nothing should stop you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, bringing that kind of, giving me a lesson, teaching me there about the different terms in terms of how do you put your clothes together and what you look forward to in terms of I'm going to remember it, your primary color, your accent color, and your pop color. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Every single time I dress, I'm going to try to make the assessment to make sure that I have all the 3 pieces together. Thank you so much, Neha, Karina, and I do hope that you have a wonderful experience at Fashion Coda, and I want to invite the entire public to come out and support the 7 designers and the models who will be there showcasing their talent. Do have a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Thank you, my love. Take care.
All right, take care. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's that time of the morning. It is the photo of the day. The photo of the day is coming up. The photo of the day. Can you guess where this photo was taken from? This photo of the day, of course, you have until we come back from the break. You can tell us on our Facebook live stream or even on our YouTube channel. And even if you're watching on your television, you can shout it in your living room or wherever you are. Where do you think this photo was taken from? The photo of the day today. In the meantime, we have to go for a short break before we continue here in studio this morning. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with the Tobago Updates morning show. And Adana, we have a number of things to discuss. We were talking earlier that the politics really heating up. We saw a little bit of bacchanal happening over the weekend. So tell me, what are your thoughts?
And you see, the thing is the season, and it's unfortunate that these are the things we kind of expect and look forward to. Look forward to is even the word, but that's exactly it. And I'm a little bit disappointed that we're still focusing on he say, she say, them say. And what I want the politics to focus on, as I mentioned before, is on the things that you are going to deliver. We are taking platforms and we are talking about them and he and she. Why don't we talk about we? What we doing? When you take the platform as a politician in this campaigning season, let us hear what you are doing. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear what you have done, what you are able to do, the ideas you're coming up with. Forget about what he do and what she do. And yes, you have to hold people accountable. Bring your strong reason, bring your strong points, bring your evidence, but focus also on what you are doing. Mind your business and don't mind other people's business. Focus on what you are doing.
But do you think that the fact that scandals, particularly during political campaigns, scandals grip the public imagination so much so that political parties know that sometimes the scandal is the go-to thing instead of really discussing. Of course,
and it's a game. Politics is a game. And you see, once you understand, and me and no politician, me and no political scientist, me and no political analyst. But I'm telling you, it's a game. It is a game, and from the time we're getting close to election, you start digging, you start, forming the narrative, you plant a seed, and you're hoping for somebody to water it. And once it waters and that tree starts to grow, well, you see all kind of fruits falling from the tree. And that is what is happening in our politics in Trinidad and Tobago, and especially in the Tobago space. It's 60,000 of us living here. When on the 29th of April, we had to get along. We have to get along. And so the mudslinging, the slandering, the whatever it is, I don't like it.
But even in the face of a scandal, Adana, we could have a discussion where we could bring out and discuss the pertinent issues within that scandal. But are we
objective enough to forget the scandal? That's the thing. You see, the thing is, I always have a say, know your members. And you see, once you know the members and you can manipulate them, I ain't saying nobody manipulating it, but I'm just saying, if you have a group of people and you know that you could form a narrative that people will run with and not focus on the things that are important, then that's where you're going to go to, and the people are going to carry. If you know that that is your strength and that is their weakness, play on your strength and their weakness, and then boom, you dissuade people from what is important, and everybody is doing it. It's not like if one specific person is doing it. Every single person who takes a platform, that is the approach, because that is what the people are like. So our people, we need to come together now and focus on what are they trying to dissuade me from? What am I really supposed to be focusing on? The bacchanal because it looked good on social media, and this one fighting with that one, and tomorrow they have to go to work in the same building.
Yeah, and we have a problem within the populace where the population they can't do that deciphering that you're calling on. So they tend to latch on to this scandal, and the conversation goes awry. It goes all over the place. And the topics that we need to really be focusing on, we don't get to focus on them. And people start to make the political decisions based on personalities.
That's right.
And
loyalty to people rather than
and he said this or she said this, and not really what is your plans, or what are your plans? What are your plans for the island? What are your plans for when you go into parliament? If you form the next government, what are your plans? If you want to go into parliament to be the opposition, what are your plans? You know?
And even the reality of your plans being executed within the time frame. How possible is it to happen? And if it seems as it's an impossibility, what are some of the things you are going to do to reduce the impossibility and make it a possibility, so that it could actualize, and that we could actually enjoy the benefits of you being in that position. And so you're hearing one side saying 2 seats is not enough, and the other side saying 2 seats is enough. That is all we need. So as the populace, you now have to go and do your research. And the challenge is the people who do the research and they bring the information, they get blasted on social media because they took the time, they did the research, they bring the strong points. There's a specific social media influencer, that's the term they use, who does a lot of research and brings the facts. I know who you're talking about. And I ain't calling nobody name, And I'm saying what I'm saying. And when they bring the information, people just fighting, this one pulling and that one tugging. But if we take the time to do the same research, we will get the information is there, you know. The information is there, but do we want to invest the time to get the information, get the facts, and make an informed decision, or are we going to remain loyal because my grandmother and my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother was this, so I am this too? By the hook or the crook could be a frog in our jackets. That is where I'm going.
So one of the responsibilities for us in the media now is to really sometimes have that conversation, have that kind of incisive discourse with whether it's political analysts or with the candidates themselves or the political leaders themselves, have that kind of incisive discourse to really get down to the nitty-gritty of these plans and promises and initiatives, to really decipher and see how plausible their ideas are. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of persons within the public space, they're not going to do that. And so it's really sort of incumbent on us to have that conversation.
That's right, and to ensure that we have the historical evidence and, you know, just the train of how things have happened in the past, and kind of try to balance it to where we are now and listen to what is projected and to see how we can really be done. We really have to bring the populace into this with us. We really have to give them a space where they can kind of understand what is happening, rather than be when the tide is high, they raise with the tide, and when the tide is low, they go down with the tide. You want to be on a steady pace, a steady course, having the information and being able to make an informed decision. Of course, you know, right here at Tobago Updates Television, we're going to continue talking about things election as we head on into the 28th of April. Remember, the responsibility is yours, the duty is yours to ensure you go out and vote, because just like me and Akin Labi and all the others, we have our opinions and we know what we want for ourselves, for the island of Tobago, and for generations to come. So let your voice be heard. Don't fight and argue before and after, and not make use of your opportunity on the day. So continue to stay tuned with Tobago Updates Television as we bring you all the information, all the updates as it relates to elections 2025, which takes place on the 28th of April, right here in Trinidad and Tobago. For now, this is where we end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT with Candice Jackson. So stay tuned with us, and as you go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
To mainly focus on disease of cocoa. Black pod and witch's broom are currently in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're going to give some sensitization about frosty pod, which is a disease that's in the region that could have devastating impacts to the cocoa industry. The reason why these are so problematic, they affect the economic part. It doesn't necessarily kill the tree, but it makes the farmers feel less productive.
Today, the focus is on identifying the diseases of cocoa towards rehabilitation and restoration of the cocoa. So, as you know, we have one of the finest cocoa in Trinidad and Tobago, and we don't want to lose that genetic stock, and therefore this particular training today for that.
I believe it's important to renew your information and to be up to date with what is taking place. And we learned that the frosty fever disease is just in our neighboring Venezuela, so we have to be on the lookout for that particular disease and to know what to do in the event that it gets here.
So this workshop or training will help facilitate, refreshing the knowledge that officers have and putting things in place so we can get these cocoa seeds back up and running, back up at production, optimal production at that.
Really is looking at conserving biodiversity and taking on agroecological practices to now look at the agricultural landscape and see how we could better the landscape using that. So the BioReach is really for the landscape, the productive landscapes of Trinidad and Tobago.
I think it's a good idea that the different agencies come on board with the division and with the ministry by extension. Because the ministry cannot do it all alone, so these agencies will help bring information to us extension officers and our wider farmers in Tobago.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds for Monday, 7th April 2025. Ahead of the meeting with Sandals Resorts owner Adam Stewart today, THA Chief Secretary Fali Augustine insisted any renewed investment in Tobago must be funded by Sandals and not taxpayers. Augustine emphasized that development must benefit Tobagonians, respect their input, and follow legal protocols with the THA leading negotiations. He criticized the central government for neglecting tourism and highlighted the failure of the original 2017 Sandals proposal due to lack of consultation and reliance on public funds. Talks resumed after former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said he convinced Sandals to reconsider the project. Meanwhile, political leader of the TPP and Chief Secretary Fali Augustine has rejected claims of ties between his party and the UNC, dismissing a viral voice note as political mischief and recycled smear tactics. Speaking in Crown Point, he said detractors were distracting voters due to their failure in leadership. UNC political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar also denied any alliance. PNM Tobago Council leader Answer Dennis warned Tobagonians not to dismiss the audio as AI generated, referencing a past controversy involving Augustine. PDP leader Watson Duke distanced himself from the scandal, mocking Augustine and questioning the integrity of the alleged exchange. And finally, speaking at a political meeting in Signal Hill last night, Prime Minister Stuart Young praised the commitment of Tobago's MPs Shafaka Joe Lewis and Ayanna Webster Roy, while cautioning against the UNC and coalition governments, citing their history of disrespect toward Tobago. Prime Minister Young affirmed his dedication to the island, highlighting his efforts in securing ferries, managing the recent oil spill, and sourcing international funding. He outlined plans for continued development on the island, including Sandals and Marriott, a marina, Tobago Milat, additional safe houses, collaboration with the private sector to create jobs, expansion of the electricity capacity with wind turbines, cruise port expansion, and 12 new high-tech interceptors with 2 designated for Tobago. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And of course, viewers, from the news, you are hearing that it's getting very much heated out there in the political space. But while Trinidad and Tobago is strapped into this election period, there's something out there that's also affecting the way we live and the way how we would operate our economy and everything. And of course, those are the recent decisions involving the United States as it regards to tariffs. And to speak to us a little bit about that, we will be joined this morning by former Senator Dominique Smith, and he's also an economist, as we discuss the effects of the U.S. tariff on the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. So good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Let me first say thank you for having me, and thank you to your viewership. I'm happy to be here to discuss any issues.
All right, great. So first of all, I mean, now that we've had the tariffs announced, it's been about a week or so since we've had that announcement. Has there been any effect so far on TNT's export economy?
I think at the moment you probably won't see an immediate impact, but certainly when we look down the road, there are both positive and negative implications of the move. As a country and as a nation, obviously there's a international relations component that will become important for us to navigate. But if we look at the economics of it, on the positive side, if we can look to that, this might be an opportunity for us to potentially boost interregional trade, CARICOM trade, and push for interregional business opportunities with our close neighbors. It also provides potentially an opportunity for us to diversify our export markets. Granted, the US is one of our largest trading partners, but we can also have the opportunity to look towards Europe, look towards Africa, look towards Latin America, who are some of our, Latin America in particular, to the south, who are some of our closer neighbors. I see also there are opportunities for support of local industries. So the tariffs that have been imposed may create some room for local substitution, where local manufacturers can now have an opportunity to engage in the local economy and push their products in a more sustainable fashion to the internal economy. There's also a need to probably shift to higher end goods and services and have a more value added focus. And the corollary for us is really regional unity as well. So even though one might think that there are a lot of negative impacts, and we could speak to those negative impacts if you like, there are also some positive outcomes as a result of this.
All right, so let's get into some of those negative impacts, because I want to understand, what are we facing, seeing as how at this point in time, the U.S. is one of our biggest trading partners. How does this affect us?
Well, we are a small island developing state. We're considered SIDS. And as a result of that, we are always challenged with the volatility of external factors. We've seen that in our dependence on oil and gas, and the ability for us to buoy our economy is based on the fluctuations of oil and gas. Now, the tariffs, these are not these are not policies that are foreign to us. We have tariff relationships with many countries, and if the U.S. has taken the stance that they will do an equal tariff distribution across their trading partners, we have to be agile enough to understand that that is the changing dynamics of the global market and the U.S. interaction and adapt. But if we were to look at some of the probably the low-hanging negative impacts, one obvious one would be higher export costs. So our manufacturing industry will now have to the goods, etc., would be now more expensive in the US, and so that might create a reduction in demand. As a result of that, we've been speaking about foreign exchange. Potentially, that can have a foreign exchange hit as well, because less export revenue weakens economies, and every country would like as much as possible to be able to increase their exports. I think there might also be investor caution, which is something that we have faced. We've had a situation where foreign direct investment has been moving out of our country for quite some time, and so there's a level of uncertainty that happens when the U.S. takes certain policy stands that could potentially reduce U.S. investment in the region. And naturally as well, because we are tourism-based economies in the Caribbean, a lot of our Caribbean brothers, etc., they are dependent on the tourism product. The diaspora and the tourist targeted exports may potentially decline. So these are things that will sort of develop as time passes, but I think that the government needs to certainly look at the potential impacts and treat it on a day-to-day basis, and have some policy prescriptions, and provide information, transparent, asymmetric information to the public as well as to the manufacturing companies, to give them a better understanding of where we're at and what our trajectory is like in the coming year and years.
What is the timeline like for those effects to be felt? Do you have any idea at this point in time, like how soon so some of those things that you mentioned can start like really impacting us?
Well, the policy directive, I think, had a date. I believe it was April 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But in terms of the policy, it would have an immediate impact, because those things, once they are handed down, we must toe the line in terms of reciprocation. So that certainly will happen. I think it'll be better to get a sense from the chambers of industry and commerce, how their potential membership feel about the specific issues. And I think within a short time frame, especially for export manufacturers to the US, within a 1 to 3 month time frame, we should begin to see sentiments expressed by them, and determine whether or not what potential impact there would be further down in the year 2025.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any idea as to how much forex we earn from trading with the U.S.? How much of that contributes to our economy? Like a percentage? Do you know?
I think in general, our manufacturing industry and our infrastructure has been attempts have been made to improve it. As a percentage of GDP, I think it's quite insignificant, unfortunately, due to the fact that our main export is oil and gas and its subsidiary byproducts. So I think overall there's a need for us to diversify our economy. That has always been a challenge. I think for the manufacturing sectors and the manufacturing companies locally that have been trying to expand, this would certainly be a hit to them. The effect, or to quantify that effect, we can't really tell. But from a GDP perspective, I don't think necessarily it would have an immediate impact on the way in which we traditionally run our economies, or major revenue earner. But certainly there will be a microeconomic effect, and that will be passed on to the consumer locally, and potentially it can affect jobs if those said companies that provide the export have challenges now moving forward.
Now, as you mentioned, some of the low-hanging fruits that we could tackle in terms of, mitigating against the effects of these tariffs is, of course, changing the way we trade. So trade more with the Caribbean, the European Union, Africa, and looking at other areas to diversify into. And let us start with the Caribbean. Now, I know at CARICOM level, there's been a lot of talk, especially in the last couple of years, about strengthening the CSME and all of those things. Are we at this point ready, do you think, to start to really see that integration of trade within the Caribbean in the way that they've been speaking about? Or is it still a little ways off?
Certainly, I think the way the global dynamics have been moving, there's becoming a need for a sort of siloed approach in terms of the foreign policy. For us, though, as small and developing states, certainly there's always been an opportunity for us to become more integrated and to support our brothers and sisters in CARICOM. I think steps have been taken, certainly in the 1970s all the way up to where we are now, to have that progress. Whether or not this particular response from the U.S. will result in us then taking the baton on and progressing those talks, that's left to be seen by the governments and the leaders in charge of the separate countries in CARICOM. But I am certainly positive in terms of what potentially can happen when dialogue takes place, and I think it is an opportunity for us to really look succinctly at what are our low-hanging fruit, as you mentioned, and what opportunities, what can we leverage locally to support each other. It's a great opportunity. Whether or not we can capture that opportunity is left to be seen. Unfortunately, in the past, I don't think we've been able to do that in a truly focused and dynamic way.
And how easy or difficult it is for our manufacturers then to now pivot to the European Union or towards Africa and so on, getting into those markets. I know that there's already been some work started, but in a real sense, how difficult or how easy would it be to pivot?
I think it's less of a pivot or a shift. I think it's more having an understanding of how do we begin to progress talks that have already been started. I think there's a lot of potential for export in a lot of these markets that you mentioned, Africa, South America, certainly in Europe. What we need to do is to assess where we're at right now, and I think take it on a day-by-day basis. There also needs to be certain level of policy direction by the government to support manufacturers locally, to support small and medium enterprises, to support even established firms, identify who are their potential partners, and also some level of feedback from the international community and the bodies that are representing those countries in foreign countries, information regarding what are potential trade opportunities for the Caribbean and for Trinidad. So that dialogue, I believe, is happening. I think now there should be an aggressive move towards bringing the dialogue to fruition and seeing what direct benefit can be captured as a result of the changing dynamics of the global landscape, especially as it relates to the U.S. and the impositions of the tariffs, which are not only affecting Trinidad, affecting many countries across the globe.
Yes. So will these tariffs, will they affect the investment by American companies into Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, certainly the opportunity becomes a more expensive endeavor. And so we've already had a situation where foreign direct investment in Trinidad has contracted over time. It doesn't lend to us being able to recapture that investment. But again, we have to be able to create, regardless of policy imposition by foreign countries, an ecosystem and an environment that is attractive to businesses. We need to be able to increase the ease of doing business. We need to be able to make investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago attractive to foreign direct investment. And I don't think we've been aggressively looking to do that. And so the result is clear. And the data suggests that we need certainly to look at this more directly and manifest improvements in that directive policy.
Now, since these announcements have been made, have you seen any shift in the way the government is approaching making the ease of doing business better in Trinidad and Tobago?
I think government to government, obviously we're not trying to discourage foreign direct investment, but certainly when you look at the broad indicators of why companies or investment bodies would invest in a country, certainly one of those areas of concern are the criminal element, and so based on those factors, that potentially crime and its associated socioeconomic impacts, it delays and also it doesn't incentivize foreign direct investment. I think that's something that we've been challenged with in Trinidad specifically over the last 10 years. More recently, we've had upsurge in murders, etc. So certainly that doesn't increase our potential to capture foreign direct investment. One of the main things that attracts investment is stability. So if there's a level of stability in the economy, if there's an environment and an ecosystem that is easy to do trade and restrict the ease of doing business, then certainly that's something that these investment opportunities would look at when deciding where they want to invest their capital. Whether or not the Caribbean and Trinidad specifically is an environment of growth and can provide profits for them, that's the determination, not necessarily our efforts. So we need to look at the wider picture. We need to look at the factors that contribute to foreign direct investment in economies, and we need to pander to those if we aim to encourage more investment in our economies.
All right, great. Now, we're not done yet with this conversation, but we got to go for a break. So we'll be back right after this with Mr. Spitz.
Thank you.
It's a brand new morning.
The premier red carpet extravaganza. Tobago Fashion Coda is back with a bang, bringing with it quintessential style where runway meets rhythm. Come see the icons of Caribbean couture, showcasing the trailblazing fashions of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago Fashion Coda 7 promises an unforgettable experience on the 18th of April 2025 at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, a premium all-inclusive fashion soiree where runway meets rhythm.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are chatting this morning with Independent Senator and economist Dominique Smith as we get into the nitty-gritty of what can we expect as a result of the tariffs that have been imposed on us by the U.S. government. Now, Mr. Smith, I want to talk a little bit about, what inflation can this cause, or what is the potential for inflation of this within our economy? Could it put pressure on the TT dollar to increase? Give us your perspective where that's concerned.
Well, I think we are challenged already by the inflationary impacts. I think we've seen over the course of the last few years an increase in the cost of food inflation in particular. There's also have been a percentage increases in healthcare inflation, and I think that's a very interesting area that we need to consider. We have a lot of our imports as it relates to goods and services that we provide to the public. Certainly, there's a public sector inflation issue as it relates to goods and services that potentially we purchase from our U.S. trading partners. Locally as well, there will be some impact, as you know, in terms of our exports and in terms of the price we pay for products, etc., that we put into our manufacturing products. It makes that a bit more challenging in terms of access, etc. So we are challenged by the general inflation that we've been seeing. It has been increasing. It's been around 3%, 3.5% in terms of its impact. What will need to happen, though, is that persons will need to have some level of domestic substitution. So I think if we were able to utilize this as an opportunity and to engage in domestic substitution at a policy level, the inflationary impact may be reduced because we're now substituting products potentially that we would import, and we are looking to negotiate better terms with local producers, etc.
So it might actually be a positive where inflation is concerned. Is that what you're saying?
Well, certainly there's opportunity. Whether or not we take advantage of the opportunity and we look at the silver lining as it pertains to this policy is left up to the policymakers. And I think the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturing Association and other bodies need to certainly have a talk on how do they approach not only this tariff imposition and its effect locally, but potentially many other policy directives that may come from the U.S. and how do we respond as a country to what we see coming down the line. The goal here is to be as agile as possible because we are typically countries that are quite generally affected by exogenous factors. And because we know the symptoms of our economies and the symptoms of our trade potential, we need to be aggressively pursuing alternatives rather than having a reactionary policy towards these changes in the global markets.
Mm-hmm. How do you foresee the central bank, how do you foresee they adjusting policies as a result of this? Or should they adjust policies as a result of this?
I think from a foreign policy standpoint, it's very much a situation where we need to wait and see. The U.S. election just recently finished. There's been a change in terms of the governance and the leadership of the country. It's normal and natural for policy direction to take place within the first 100 days of an office change. So I think it's just a situation where we need to wait and see. But we also need to be ready if there is a change and how those changes potentially can impact us directly. We have smart businessmen in Trinidad. I believe that overall we are very wise and prudent in the way we engage in trade. What we need to do is to just be ready and prepared for potential implications of policy changes, not only in the US, but in other areas of the world. We live in times that are very volatile with wars, etc. And so we just need to be ready for what comes down the channel.
Mm-hmm. Are there any industries or jobs in Trinidad and Tobago that will be directly affected by these tariffs?
Well, I think in general, certainly if tariffs as a result make your exports more expensive to the U.S. markets, potentially there can be a decrease in trade. Likely there will be a trickle down effect. Producers locally would have to then understand, what where their profit margins lie, and as a result of that, they may need to take difficult decisions locally that potentially can affect income of their employees, and also the way in which they engage other bodies for potentially substitute products. So I think it's a wait and see at the moment. Certainly, the immediate impact is that yes, there will be challenges that businesses must navigate. But as in every business, these things come at you, and you need to be savvy enough to maneuver in a direction that is positive for your country and for your company. So I think yes, there will be some immediate challenges. Persons may see effects on their immediate income. However, from a business perspective locally on the microeconomy, this is a day-to-day sort of endeavor, and we wait to see what else comes down the line.
I want to talk a little bit globally now. Since this announcement was made, we saw the European Union, China, a lot of those countries coming out and issuing strong messages about how they intend to fight this. Now, do you see, since those initial reactions were made, have you seen any sort of shift globally in the way how alliances are now forming?
Well, I think the U.S. is the reason they are the U.S. is because they are the dominating economy in the world. They are able to print their own money via the central bank. They're able to maneuver international commerce in ways that benefit them. And quite naturally, when policy directives change, countries that are engaged in trade with the U.S. naturally would have a knee-jerk effect. They also want to have a response that is cognizant with the ideas and ideology of their government and their autonomy. And it's expected that they would also want to respond in kind to tariff impositions. We've seen globally, as you mentioned, that Canada, as an example, they are drawing a hard line in terms of how they will respond. Other countries as well have made indications that they will not take these impositions lightly. But I think at the end of the day, wisdom and sober thinking will prevail. The dynamics on the global side certainly will have an effect on the Caribbean. So our leaders need to be bootstrapped and need to be mindful of these daily changes. But globally, I think countries will lean to their foreign policy experts, and they will lean to their ambassadors and persons that are engaged in trade-specific relations with their trading partners. And resolutions will be made, compromises will be made, and at the end of the day, good sense hopefully will prevail throughout the course of this dialogue.
How important is something like CARICOM and the CSME in a situation like this? And how important is it? And then what role can we play as a region globally?
I think the term CARICOM and CSME in particular, it's really two bodies that are meant to unify, join, and explore and leverage opportunities that come to us. I think certainly there's an opportunity for us to begin dialogue with each other and see what are the opportunities that can be grasped given these global implications. Certainly the term together united for the better is something that we can take to heart in these international circumstances. And so there are opportunities between countries. Interregional trade can be explored. Domestic and interregional product substitution can be explored. I think certainly if we were open-minded, CARICOM can potentially benefit from this change in policy. If the policy directive is strong enough, and if the members that are a part of these bodies engage in dialogue and determined to make an impact based on these changes. So I don't see it as a negative. I see a unification that will happen. Recently, there was a couple CARICOM meetings as well that happened in Barbados. I think from those talks, more talks need to be explored, and there needs to be some level of unity and grouped policy directive. And how do we treat with these challenges that come to us, and how do we become better insulated as a region from the potential ramifications of these policy changes?
Certainly. And then bringing it back home now, what are the opportunities that are you seeing locally, and what sort of innovation can happen within our space as a result of these tariffs?
Yeah, well, I think we have a lot of low-hanging opportunities. I think Trinidad is not scarce of human resource and persons that are quite equipped to engage in global trade. We have a lot of young persons who are engaging in innovative business. There are a lot of bodies that are encouraging local manufacturing and small and medium enterprise manufacturing. I think there's certainly a group of businesses, young professionals, small and medium enterprises that can burgeon out of this potentially. And what we need to do as a country is continue to invest in our people, continue to invest in innovation, continue to invest in manufacturing, and treat it as a policy directive that we want to grow companies and allow these companies to then employ persons within the domestic economy. And in doing so, while we invest, these businesses then have the potential to export. And those exports can be outside of the US. They can be, as we mentioned, all throughout the length and breadth of the global markets that opportunities align. And so there is a great number of opportunities, I think, but there has to be very specific policy directives that encourage the growth of ecosystems for small businesses to expand and to do well, and to see the opportunity that is before us, which is opening up our markets and the ability to attract investment and potentially export to these markets, increasing our foreign exchange in the economy. So certainly, if you have eyes to see and the vision to bring it to fruition, there are a lot of opportunities for domestic businesses, and I look forward to seeing how the government will potentially explore those opportunities.
Now, when this announcement was made, and since this announcement has made, there's been some interesting happenings out there in the stock market. And I mean, it has a lot of people worried as to what's happening. But I know some global economists have also said that, the stock market will eventually recover, as it does after some time. It's something to watch and see. Is there any potential now? And I know that this has also been a conversation at the CSME level about, whether or not we should have our own sort of market here in the Caribbean in a greater way. I mean, what potential do you see coming out of a situation like that for us as a region getting into that area of economics?
Well, I think certainly the Jamaican Stock Exchange, as an example, has been one to look at. They've had a lot of companies that have gone public on their local stock exchange. I think the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange as well, they have been making progress in terms of getting companies to go public. I think there has been a level of progress there. I think more needs to be done. Certainly, we can look to Jamaica in that specific realm and see how they have been able to create that robustity in their stock exchange and invest in potential startup companies and invest in potential ecosystems that encourage these type of companies to expand. Certainly, the old additive buy low and sell high. That is the nature of the stock exchange. You have your booms and your slumps, and so it's not uncommon to have periods which are bullish and periods which are bearish. Certainly, this is not financial advice, but the persons who are experts in this field would tell you that these are things that happen over periods and in cycles, and certainly the savvy finance professional would be able to navigate these times. This is not something that is uncommon. It's happened in the past. What we need to do, however, is to be agile enough to understand the dynamics of the market and see where the opportunities lie, where we can engage in. But from a local perspective, more investments need to happen in terms of growing our local stock exchange, and also there's a gap as well in terms of helping the public understand what are the opportunities for investment locally. How can they participate in trade and potentially profit from the volatility in the markets? We have a number of companies that are listed on the local stock exchange, and so there needs to be a level of financial intelligence training and development and knowledge transfer to the general public, so they can take charge of these potential opportunities and improve their quality of life and their potential fortunes in the future.
Certainly. And now, just looking at the situation, there are people on the ground who are worried, have been worried since this announcement was made and so on. And to the average man, the man in the ground, the man that is not necessarily at the top level of business and so on, what would you say to them at this point in time?
I would say to them that there's no need to create an environment of fear mongering. I think certainly it's important for the general public to be aware of the international circumstances, and also to appreciate that we have always been an exposed economy. The Caribbean itself, because of our background and how we earn our money, really is heavily dependent on the going and froing of the international community, because one of our main products, as you know, is tourism. For Trinidad, the export of oil and gas and LNG based products. So yes, it's important for the general public to have a aggregate understanding of what is taking place, but certainly I don't think that that's going to affect the day-to-day operations of an individual. Certainly they are challenged by a number of other factors in their day-to-day lives. You're speaking about high food pricing, the high costs of rent, the lack of home ownership, the issues as it relates to underemployment, unemployment in general, the lack of infrastructure maintenance. So the general public are faced with quite a number of challenges already. And I would leave it up to the economists and persons in finance and persons who are in the international relations fields to direct and to educate the public on how they should feel about these things, given that they're the experts. But for the man on the street, certainly they are challenged by a number of issues, not related to these dynamics in the international imposition of tariffs.
Mm-hmm. And then, just as a cursory glance, do you think as we're getting into the elections, and do you think that this whole conversation and this is being considered by the competing political parties at this point in time?
I think certainly at a cursory glance, it's important for all parties involved in the electoral process. If they are positioning themselves for governance, they certainly need to be aware of what's happening internationally. But as it goes, we have a month left for the election cycle to be completed, and persons have had a chance to look at what has happened over the course of 10 years and the performance of the existing government and how they have treated with international issues.
rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory. Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
morning, Tobago on Tobago updates. Viewers, I just want to apologize for that break in transmission and interrupting just to wrap up of our conversation with Independent Senator Dominique Smith as he was giving us a little synopsis on what's been going on with the U.S. Tariffs that were imposed on Trinidad and Tobago. What are some of the things that we need to be watch out for, cognizant of how would this affect us and so on. I mean, yes, it will have an impact on us. However, it's a chance now to pivot the way we do things, look at other markets for us to invest in and to do trade with. So those are just some key takeaways from him. But viewers, so today is a sort of big day here in Tobago because we are seeing, we're going to be seeing the meeting that will be happening with the management of Sandals in the form, the executive chairman, Mr. Adam Stewart. He is here in Tobago and he is preparing to meet with the team of people, stakeholders. Prime Minister Stuart Young, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine is expected to be there. So is PDP leader and Assemblyman Watson Duke, and several other tourism stakeholders and business stakeholders are expected to be at that meeting, and is starting at 10 o'clock this morning at the Prime Minister's residence. So just a lot to look forward to. Hopefully at the end of that meeting, we, the media, will be able to get an idea of as to what this new investment is going to be looking like. So we know back in 2017, 2015, 2016, 2017, the idea was to establish a beaches and sandals resort at Golden Grove Estate, along with a golf course and so on. Now, we do not know for certain if that's the same model that's going to be looked at this point in time, but of course that's the information that we hope to know after this meeting is finished. Will the arrangements be different? That's another question, because I mean, we've heard this weekend from Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and even previously from Assemblyman Watson Duke that the proposal was not just against sandals. It was, of course, the way sandals is coming, and they would saying that if Sandals is to come again, that Sandals needs to spend its own money here in Tobago. Because as you would know, or if you don't know, the previous attempt was utilizing the government's ability to construct the hotel on Golden Grove Buku Estate, and then Sandals would come in and brand it. So essentially, Sandals is not the one that was constructing per the previous agreement. So will that be changed this time around? Of course, that will be seen later. And like I said, hopefully we will be able to find out. So you want to stay tuned to figure out, what are the developments? Because we hope to bring that to you later this evening in our newscast at 6:30. And of course, there's a lot more happening, on just the local scene with elections. We had Prime Minister Stuart Young talk about a number of things that he hopes to do in Tobago if his government is given another term, and that some of those things is establishing a MILAT in Tobago, establishing more services to support the victims of domestic violence, abuse, children, and so on, as well as he mentioned some things in regards to national security, having 2 new vessels. Now, he said that during the meeting last week with Marco Rubio from the U.S., it said that there was a request made to supply 12 Coast Guard vessels to Trinidad and Tobago, and out of that 12, 2 would be assigned to Tobago. Now, of course, it leaves questions as to what's also happening with the government's plan to repair a number of the damaged vessels that are down right now and are parked up in Stobles Bay, because that was a major concern, and it's been on the budget agenda for several years to repair some of those vessels, because part of the reason why Coast Guard has issues in responding to requests, especially from the fishermen and so on, is because there is a shortage of working vessels. And so there was previously vessels even assigned to Tobago. However, those are currently down for repair and have been down for repair for several years. So there are a lot of more questions as to where this is going, how soon we can see those vessels, what are the financial arrangements being made for us to even acquire these vessels. and so on. So hopefully, again, all those questions to be answered. We heard the Prime Minister Stuart Young talk about his intentions to construct a cruise ship port here in Tobago, in Scarborough, so essentially expanding that port. Now, of course, you would know that the TPP administration, through the Secretary of Infrastructure, Mr. Trevor James, has a plan to redevelop Scarborough, and in part of that plan is the development of a cruise ship port. So now, how will the Prime Minister's plan work along with Trevor James' plan? Of course, that is yet to be seen, and these things need to be expanded on a bit. Of course, there was talk of a marina. Minister Young said that he wants to construct a marina in Tobago. He would like a big marina in Tobago, but might be a little bit difficult to start with a large marina that would attract those super yachts and so on. So they're going to start small, at least to have an official marina, and then eventually expand it as time goes on and investment comes in. So those are just some of the things that were being spoken about on the election campaign trail. I mean, there's a lot to get into, which means that you need to be paying attention to what's being said out there from all sides. So, I mean, that's it from me, Candice Jackson, for now. And I want to keep watching us here at Tobago Updates as we continue to bring you more information and dive more into these issues as they come up. So thank you again for watching this morning, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Start to rise, the energy filled the sky.